I make this brief opening statement on behalf of the Metropolitan Police Commissioner. When the then Home Secretary announced that this inquiry would be established, there was much speculation, rumour and suspicion. This centred upon allegations of child sexual abuse by MPs and prominent people connected with Westminster. There were assertions and rumours about police cover-ups and about investigations being shut down because of collusion between police and MPs. Over the last 4 years, the IOPC and the Metropolitan Police Service have dedicated considerable resources to investigating these allegations. Allegations which are essentially of police misconduct. The inquiry will hear evidence about those investigations over the course of this first week of evidence. Before addressing what is within the scope of this investigation, we note that you, Chair, have expressly ruled that certain matters will not fall within that scope. In particular, the inquiry does not propose to investigate and determine whether child sexual abuse in fact occurred, save where there have been convictions. Rather, the focus will be on the institutional responses to allegations of child sexual abuse, both at the time and since. The distinction is an important one. Whilst we do not suggest that the inquiry can or should come to any conclusions as to whether any particular individual did in fact commit child sexual abuse, the strength and circumstances of the initial complaint provide necessary context in understanding the responses of institutions such as the Metropolitan Police Service. The inquiry will hear evidence from Commander Catherine Roper, the Metropolitan Police Commander with responsibility for professional standards. She, along with Mr. Mahaffey of the IOPC, will explain how complaints and allegations of police misconduct are received and investigated. We anticipate that they will explain to you the outcome of the scoping exercises and operations conducted by the Metropolitan Police Service, including investigations conducted subject to the oversight of the IOPC. Those investigations have been conducted by officers attached to the Metropolitan Police Service's Operation Winter Key. As you may recall from other strands of this inquiry, Winter Key was established in June 2015 in order to investigate, first of all, allegations of non-recent child sexual abuse involving people of public prominence or institutions, and secondly, allegations that such abuse was covered up by, amongst others, police officers. Led by an experienced senior officer, Winter Key has been staffed by specialist investigators well used to handling the most sensitive and complex cases. Winter Key presently still has over 80 officers and staff. They have approached these matters with an open mind and a determination to identify wrongdoing. They have followed the evidence where it has taken them. No fear or favour has been shown to anyone in a prominent position. On any objective and fair analysis, it is clear that the Metropolitan Police Service, through Operation Winter Key, has approached its task with diligence and a commitment to uncovering the truth. In this respect, we ask the inquiry to note the convictions that Operation Winter Key has secured, some of which have been examined in other strands within this inquiry. The inquiry will note the sheer number of matters which the MPS has investigated. We invite you also to note the very low threshold which has deliberately been applied by Operation Winter Key in conjunction with the IOPC to ensure that all allegations, irrespective of their age, the source of the allegation, or whether there exists any corroborative evidence, have been accorded proper consideration. Of those investigations, the assessment made by the MPS is that there is currently, insufficient evidence in respect of any one case to bring criminal or disciplinary action, although in a few cases, if the subject of the allegation had still been alive, a formal interview would have been conducted. We welcome the inquiry's critical scrutiny of those investigations. The inquiry will also consider the much-discussed allegations concerning Elm Guesthouse. Commander Neil Jerome will explain the investigations which have been conducted. In short, despite much public speculation, including by those within the political and media establishments, there is currently insufficient evidence to substantiate any allegation or suspicion of misconduct in the way in which officers dealt with allegations of child sexual abuse. We welcome the inquiry examining the allegations that have been made and, perhaps for the first time, the public consideration of the institutional response to those allegations. Commander Jerome and Commander Roper are both here in court today. Both will give evidence and will do their best to contribute to your understanding of the Metropolitan Police Service's actions. But they are also here to listen. The Commissioner recognises that these matters have caused profound public debate and concern and welcomes the light which this inquiry will throw on them. She is of the view that where the investigations have not been substantiated, this should not be a source for complacency. In some instances, it has been possible to establish that the allegation is without foundation. In many more, the passage of time, the fading of memories, the destruction of documents in accordance with policy, and the death of those involved has meant that it has not been possible to establish one way or another whether the allegations are true. The actions of previous generations of police officers have been judged against policies and investigative standards in force at the time. Inaction cannot be dismissed as being of its time without further critical examination. However, we do invite the inquiry to note that many of the allegations have their origins in events in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. Societal attitudes and the law have changed enormously. Allegations that might have been made against men in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s may not be made in 2019. In addition, the way in which the police investigate and pursue allegations of crime has also changed because of advances in computing, the availability of CCTV, and DNA testing. The culture of policing and the manner in which complaints and allegations of wrongdoing are handled have also changed. There now exists a duty to report and challenge improper conduct. Protections for whistleblowers have been strengthened. Chair, as an organisation, the Metropolitan Police Service remains open-minded. Commander Roper will remain throughout the evidence. Should any new and credible information or evidence emerge, the Metropolitan Police Service will not hesitate to take action. Chair, I do not propose to address anything said in opening on Mr. Proctor's behalf about Operation Midland. Suffice to say that what Mr. Jerome will say, what Commander Jerome will say, may be slightly more nuanced than has been suggested. Chair, we do not suggest that the concerns of those from whom the inquiry will hear should be in any way minimised. We recognise the deep concern generated by the subject matter of this investigation. As you will have seen across the various investigations, the desire to avoid scandal and the wish to preserve reputation have, for too long, overridden the need to protect children. I echo Mr. Scorer's words on behalf of a number of complainants. Allegations of state cover-up need to be approached with an open mind, but also with rigour and common sense. Chair, it is plainly right that the powerful are held to account, and that includes the police. We are here to assist in that process.
Thank you, Ms. Lee.